is up, Copy Squad? I am coming to you live from the actual Delray Beach, Florida. Alright. And today we're going to talk about how to write great copywriting bullets or fascinations, whatever you want to call them. And I've got this idea. I'm inspired by my dear friend who has a new product out. And I spotted her product in her sales page, and I was watching it or reading it, and I thought to myself, I have a couple ideas for these bullets. So, I'm going to read off a couple of them. I'm not going to call anyone out by name, but let's talk about how to improve these bullets, how to make them more captivating, right? How to make them more fascinating, how to make them irresistible. Now, there's only two things you got to remember with bullets. The first thing is the word how. H-O-W, how. Your reader needs to wonder, how in the F word do I do this thing, or how in the F word do I get this result that they're talking about here? The second thing you got to remember is to be weirdly specific. I talk about bullets. I talk about selling, mostly I talk about selling to emotions. But basically you're trying to rile up their curiosity and intrigue. And I'm making my pitch now. I stumbled on it a little bit. I talk about how to speak the language of copywriting. That's what we're doing here. We're speaking a language that speaks directly to the emotional center of your brain. I talk about speaking the language of copywriting inside my book. It's called Take Their Money. It's at copywriter.com/book. And that will teach you how to target people's emotional centers, get them intrigued, get them riled up, get them wanting to buy stuff. So I'm at the beach today. My second time visiting Delray Beach. I'm having a good time. And I actually got paid a couple times on the way over here, which is pretty cool. If you want to learn how to get paid on autopilot, you should check out my book. And once you write one sales letter, it'll just keep paying you and paying you and paying you. So anyway, so let's check out these bullets and see how we can improve them. Bullet number 1. How to attract an audience full of your ideal customers by focusing on problem solving. Okay, cool. So we have a cool bullet here with a benefit, how to attract an audience full of your ideal customers. I think that's great. That's something that everyone wants, is the ideal customers. They don't want to deal with a bunch of hagglers, hasslers, or people that don't really mesh with their messaging or what they're selling. I can't see the phone at all. I still can't see the phone. I think it's because I'm out of the sun. Here, I got an idea. Doing this. Now you can see me. I couldn't see me at all. I was in the silhouette. All right, here we go. Now you can see the ocean too. How neat is that? All right, cool. So we're talking about bullet number 1, attract an audience full of your ideal customers by focusing on problem solving. That's a cool benefit, right? You want that to happen. You want to have your ideal customers coming to you. All right, now let's talk about this last part, focusing on problem solving. There's two things I want to talk about here. We want to have the audience scratching their head wondering how. Focusing on problem solving isn't very sexy. Gotta get that lighting right, though. What up, Donata? So anyway, let's talk about problem solving. Alright, so problem solving is not a very sexy topic, right? Right, Donata? So what I would do if I were to write this bullet over is I would give my problem solving strategy a unique name, okay? This is where my pitch comes into practice. I preach the new, easy, safe, and big. New is the number 1 most important thing you must do when you want anyone to pay any attention to you whatsoever. The word problem solving doesn't convey anything new that I haven't heard before. It definitely doesn't strike any sort of sexy chord where I'm like, ooh, how do they do that? And remember, in bullets, we want to do two things. Make the reader wonder how, and we want to be weirdly specific. So, we got a bullet that says we can bring our ideal customers using problem solving. So, we can make that more specific by saying something like, and the writing's in the research, right? We can maybe do some research and find out how this problem solving strategy actually increased the audience retention by 57% or something weird like that. That's one option. That's weirdly specific. The other thing we can do is rename this idea of problem solving into like a unique name that nobody's heard of. It's giving giving an old thing a new name. For instance, I was watching Frank Kern yesterday on his lives, and he called repurposing content, which is what I do when I record on Facebook and then put it on YouTube and then put it on Instagram and blah, blah, blah. That's just repurposing content. He called it content compounding, just giving an old thing a new name. So let's take this problem-solving idea and call it something unique and proprietary, because the number 1 emotion we want to trigger is new. New, easy, safe, and big. Those are the big 4 emotions I talk about inside my book, Take Their Money, at kylethewriter.com/book. We need to ramp up the newness. Every bullet every bullet anyone ever writes ever should bring, it's like a mini big idea. It should bring something new to the table where you're like, what the hell are they talking about? How? And I emphasize that word, how. Like, how do I do that? So you say, how to attract an audience full of your ideal customers by focusing on my 4-step pain itch scratching strategy, right? Something like that, like my pain relieving strategy. Like, what the freak is a pain relieving strategy? It's problem solving, right? Anything like that. It doesn't have to be clever. It just has to be new. It just has to be new. It doesn't have to be like super clever and unique. New. Just something I haven't heard yet. Okay? Bullet number 2. How to forge a personal connection so strong your audience members feel more like friends and actually want to buy. I really like that. So how do you do that? That is a great bullet where you're sitting there wondering, how do I do that? I want to forge a personal connection so strong the audience members feel like friends and actually want to buy. But perhaps we can go a little bit more weirdly specific. And again, the writing's in the research. I am not a clever person. When I write copy, it doesn't come from within me. It comes from the research. So to get weirdly specific on this, I once again say Google. Google search whatever this personal connection strategy is. Okay, and most marketing usually comes from some sort of basic tenets that we've all heard before. So you can call it like, who's like the best marketer in the world? You can be like, how to manipulate the Tai Lopez strategy to form a connection so strong that blah, 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 right? How to piggyback the Tai Lopez strategy, right? Something like that where we give it some specificity. I don't know if you want to necessarily name a person like that, but you might want to find some sort of like unique element. I like to use psychology. For instance, when I'm selling my idea that you need to speak to the emotional core of the brain, I use Antonio Damasio, the neuroscientist who discovered that decision-making occurs in the emotional part of the brain, and then the logical part of the brain justifies the decision that was already made. So if you want anyone to make a decision, initially it's made in the emotional center of their brain. So I argue you must speak directly to that emotional center. Nobody teaches you how to speak to the emotional center. You don't learn that in school. You'll learn it in my book, Take Their Money, at kylethewriter.com/book. By the way, let me know if you can hear me okay with all this wind and all that junk. I don't know if you can or can't. So I like bullet number 2, pretty strong bullet, talking about building a personal connection so strong your audience members will feel like friends and actually want to buy. Maybe there's maybe there's a way to turn that into something a little more specific of a benefit, where you say something like, using this strategy resulted in a $1,000 day, or I made $1,000 off a single email. Get weirdly specific with it, right? Get weirdly specific and say, I used this strategy to do X, Y, Z. Or you can say, 34 of my happy clients have reported that this has helped them grow their business. Even that's kind of vague, but you can say 34 clients grew their business by over 15% in a week. The more weirdly specific you get with it, the more believable it inherently becomes. Because the more weirdly specific, it's like, okay, I can't argue with like how the freak that 54 people do it 15% more. That's just it gives it 3 dimensions, man. It makes it more tangible and more real. Let's go to the next bullet. How to captivate your audience with professional quality storytelling, just like a journalist. I like this one because I feel like I think there's like an easy thing to expand upon here. So we've got storytelling like a journalist. We can captivate our audience. So captivating our audience sounds good in theory. But let's go like one step further. What's the benefit of the benefit? It says just like a journalist. Personally, I do not wish to become a journalist. What I would like to know is why being a journalist is a good thing. So the bullet says, captivate your audience with professional quality storytelling, just like a journalist. All right, cool. Captivating my audience allows me to further develop a relationship that increases conversions. That's a benefit within the benefit, right? So let's talk about rewriting this bullet. Now we're going to give an old thing a new name. The journalism strategy for storytelling that increases conversions 354%, right? Something like that is weirdly specific, and now I'm wondering how. What is the journalism strategy to storytelling? What do journalists do differently that other people do not do differently? Give an old thing a new name, Instead of saying, captivate your audience with professional quality storytelling, maybe you say, I have this technique that I learned from journalism school, the journalism school storytelling strategy, that brings in $1,000 a day. See it on day 3, we'll talk about that or something like that, right? Something like that. Okay. How to build your confidence to share your message to thousands or even millions. We can go a little bit more specific. How to build your confidence to share your message to thousands or even millions. How to build your confidence to share your message to thousands or even millions. All right, so what the benefit is here. The benefit here is we're relieving the stress of being probably like in the public eye, right? The benefit here is we're relieving that anxiety that comes with what I'm doing, which is going live every day and putting myself out there, right? So perhaps a more direct way to incorporate new, easy, safe, and big, we're basically looking at the easy element, right? Like you're anxious, you don't want to get your message out there because you're afraid people will judge you. So maybe we want to go more direct. What's the benefit the benefit is build your confidence to share your message. What's the benefit behind the benefit? The benefit behind the benefit is eliminate all anxiety when spreading your message, right? Something like that where you say, how do I say it? Maybe say something like, follow this simple strategy, okay, to take the thinking and doubt out of your strategy. So basically, you follow this step-by-step system, removes all doubts and anxiety about your content building system. I remove the anxiety for you. That's easy, right? New, easy, safe, and big. The easy aspect is I've already outlined exactly how to handle this. So all you got to do is show up. So show up, and I'll take all that anxiety off your hands. You won't even really need confidence. You can call it like the brain-dead, no confidence required solution to sharing your message with thousands or even millions. What's the message? How do you do that? It's weirdly let's try to grab some specificity in there, right? Thousands or even millions, is that specific in that? You can call it the 5-step system. The brain-dead 5-step system to eliminating anxiety and sharing your content with thousands or even millions. Like something, I don't want to say eliminating anxiety. Let's think that we're taking all the thought out of it. We're taking all the pressure away. All right, this one's a little more difficult because we're solving a pretty deep limiting belief here, aren't we? We're down here. Build your confidence, share your message with thousands or even millions. I mean, we can even address it straight out the gate. We can say, afraid to get on camera? Don't worry. This templated method takes all the thought out of the process so you can get rid of the jitters of stage fright. Just follow these simple 4 steps and you'll be creating content by the dozens. You'll be creating posts by the dozens. You'll be creating hours and hours of video without a second thought. It'll just flow from you. Something like that. Easy. Basically, we're making it easier for them. My last bullet here is my favorite bullet. The number one reason your content is not converting the number one reason your content is not converting into real dollars for your business. That's good. Now what you want to do next is ... It's not X, Y, and Z. I'm not exactly sure what the number one objections are, but the audience here will say, oh, I know what that is. It's because I'm not confident. Oh, they'll say it's because I don't have a lot of money. They'll say it's because I don't have a lot of experience. So what you say is, and the number one reason your content is not converting into real dollars for your business has nothing to do with your experience. It has nothing to do with your budget. It has everything to do with bleh. And you're like, oh, I didn't see that coming. So that's a not statement, okay? So that basically, as soon as your audience thinks they know what you're talking about, you say, hell no, you don't. This is something special. This is unique. This is only available here. You've never heard of this before. You need to check out my program. It's going to set you straight. All right? So, I don't see any questions. By the way, if someone could drop in the comments for me, KyleTheWriter.com/book, would highly appreciate that. I don't think I see anything coming through. I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Thanks so much for tuning in. That's basically my take on bullets. Let's recap. 2 things you got to remember when writing bullets. 1, the reader must ask how. The reader must ask how. How is this possible? And the way you get the reader to ask how this is possible is you present them with something new. New, easy, safe, or big, okay? So those are the big 4 emotions, the more emotions, and I sell those to you. I teach you how to use those. in my book called Take Their Money at kylethewriter.com/book. So make them wonder how. Second thing is make it weirdly specific, because once they wonder how, if it seems so promising, if it seems like it will take all the worry away from them, if it's new, easy, safe, and big, and they're like, wow, this is fantastic, this is bullshit, that's what they're immediately going to think. Wow, that sounds so great, it must be a lie. Well, then you make it weirdly specific. That is the logical justification, right? You start at the emotional thing. You get their buy-in. You target their motivation. They want to believe you. And then their logic is going to be like, yeah, but I'm a cynic. Yeah, but I don't believe you. Well, if you make it weirdly specific, the weird specificity satisfies that logical guy, that nagging, analytical, logical guy. So, you sell them on emotion, new, easy, safe, and big. Make them wonder how. That sounds fantastic. Oh, that sounds wonderful. Then the logic guy is going to come out of left field and he's like, hey, buddy, that sounds like bullcrap. But then you say, no, 3 of my clients have already increased their sales 27%. Okay, well, now I kind of want to pay attention to see how they did that, right? Okay, that sounds logical. That sounds like something I can believe with some solid numbers. My logical part of my brain is satisfied. You want to learn how to do awesome stuff like this, like selling to the emotional brain and making $1 bajillion in a single hour? That's one of those claims that I can say is I can't get sued over, right? It's so ridiculous. So anyway, but it will definitely teach you how to make more money, how to sell more things. And my book, Take Their Money at kylethewriter.com/book, will teach you the language of copywriting, which will teach you how to write words that really make you rich. Please check it out if you haven't already. Thanks so much for tuning in, Copy Squad. This is Kyle Milligan of kylethewriter.com signing off from Delray Beach. Peace out.